The long-awaited Sandbox feature has finally made it to the beta stage. Here is a quick guide that will help you understand how to configure and use Sandboxes. Sandboxes are virtual machines that will allow you to stage your apps within Buddy. This feature makes it possible to easily run your app for a specific branch or tag, run visual tests, and then deploy the application to the production environment. Let's begin by creating our first sandbox. First, select your distribution. Now it's time to install a playbook. Since we have chosen a React app for the purposes of this video, we will select an Ansible playbook that will install Node version, appropriate for the selected distribution. Now adjust what resources you want your sandbox to have access to, set its name, URL under which it will be available, and port, under which the app will be delivered. Click Create. And there you have it. Your sandbox is online. You can use Terminal to install additional things on your sandbox. For example, we are using a React app to build a static site that will be hosted on an HTTP server. You can install the server directly here. We will also be using LSOF to manage and kill processes opened on a specific port. Let's install it now. And it's ready. Apart from the terminal, you will also have access to the file system in which you will be able to browse, upload and edit files. In the Pipelines tab, you will find all the pipelines associated with that particular sandbox. Let's now add our first pipeline. We want it to build and deploy our app on every push to the master branch. The first thing we've got to do is add a build action. For this, we will use Node.js, in which we will install our dependencies, run tests and then build the app. With our build action ready, it is now time to upload our files to Sandbox. For this, we will use our Sandbox upload action. In the action settings, you can define the file source, in this case it will be the file system. You can also specify the path you want to upload. In our case we want to upload the entire build directory. After defining the source, select a sandbox you wish to upload the files to. Also specify the user, and where you want your files to be uploaded. Since we want each version of the app to be uploaded into a different directory, we will use a default environment variable, Buddy execution revision. With everything configured, just add the action to the pipeline. The only thing that remains now is connecting to the server and executing the commands that will run our app. For this purpose, we will use the Sandbox run commands action. This action will connect to our sandbox via the SSH. To do so, you will need to run a HTTP server that will serve the previously deployed files on port 80. But first, you will need to kill all the processes active on port 80, that is why we needed to install LSOF earlier. Your pipeline is ready. Thanks to this setup, a single pipeline will build the application, upload the files to a designated directory, kill the previous delivery processes and run a new process in a new directory. If you go to the Sandboxes tab now, you will notice that your application is not running yet. Go back to your pipeline and run it. As you can see, it's just how we have set this up. Build action installs all the dependencies, then it will run tests, finishing with application build. Please keep in mind that since Buddy is based on change sets, the first build will always take a little longer than later runs. Once the build finishes, the files are being uploaded, and process is then run on the server. When the pipeline finishes, simply refresh your Sandbox page. As you can see, the app is being served to the Sandbox. That's not all. You can now create a snapshot of your current build, and use it to create a sandbox on a new branch. First, create a snapshot of your most recent instance. Then, create a new sandbox using that snapshot. From the drop-down menu, select a snapshot of your choice. Next, select the resources, specify the name, URL, and port. Our stage sandbox is now ready. Now simply clone the pipeline from the original sandbox. Change its name and branch from which it will deploy. In the actions, you will have to change the sandbox to which the files are being uploaded to, and on which app is being run. Now go to the Code tab, and edit your website on the stage branch. After you introduce the changes, commit the new version. As you can see, this automatically triggers the pipeline on the stage branch. This pipeline will build the new version of our website and deploy it to the stage server. Once the build ends, our stage sandbox will be ready. And there you have it, 2 sandboxes on 2 separate branches ready for use. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please remember, this feature is currently in the beta stage. Should you face any problems or find a bug, please make sure to report that to our support staff.